and welcome to another edition of the Boys High School Basketball Show. I'm your host, Mark Kern, joined by David-Cassilo and Tim-Bielik. And guys, we got a lot of games this week, and we're going to talk about in the first section where I'd ask you guys, just to get some questions throughout the first week. And let's start with maybe the biggest game of the week last weekend, and it was St-Vincent-St-Mary hosting St. Edward, the defending Division I state champions. St-Vincent-St-Mary looked really good, Dave.
Great way here to start off the first sesh. St. Vincent-St-Mary, they look terrific. They got good guard play. They beat the defending state champions. I mean, when you look at them, you're seeing a team that is, I think, further along than a lot of people thought they would because they lost Jalen Hudson and VJ King. But right off the bat, Division II state title contender.
How surprising was that result to you, Tim?
I think it was a little bit of a surprise to me. I know I said last week that St. V would win. St. Ed's would win, and St. V proved me wrong. This is a team in St. V that's got plenty of talent in that backcourt with Josh Williams, Henry Badley, and then up front with Jabari Braun. And don't forget, they have R.J. Jones coming in the middle of the season. So this is a team that, even though this is a signature winner in the season, they could still get much better from here.
I think it's just a great test for both of those teams to be able to play such tough competition early. And another one of the top teams in the year, actually the top team, villa-angela-st-jospeh. 3 games in, guys, they've scored 102 of those. Tim, when they're clicking on offense, is there a team in the area that can contain them?
Not at all. I don't believe so. I mean, when you look at VASJ, there's just so much balance all over the court. When you look at Bragg and Pardon in the paint and Brian Parker back out at the point guard position, there's just so much top-end talent that you need to hope that VASJ is having an off night to have a shot to beat them.
Is there one weakness? If there was one weakness on this team, Dave, what do you think it may be?
A little depth. I mean, they got the 5 starters, and they've got a couple seniors to come off the bench. But if there was ever a big injury, I think they would still be state title contenders, but I think they would be more back to the pack.
All right, and let's talk about a team that maybe is trying to emerge as a state title contender, and that's Bedford. They played St. Edward very good in the first game of the season. They beat Warrensville-Heights. Even that Warrensville-Heights game, though, Dave, you were there at moments. They look great. Then they go on long scoring droughts. How good is this team?
They're good. I mean, I think sort of the deal with Bedford is that Division I is wide open. We saw St. Edward lose last week. Shaker Heights has been tested. So there's no reason that Bedford can't get hot in March and go on a run. They just have to learn to win, and they beat Warrensville-Heights. And if they can get another couple of those type wins under their belt, they're really going to be rolling.
And Tim, Dave kind of hinted at it last week. They're still trying to find maybe that one guy, their true go-to scorer. How big a factor do you think it is for them? Do they need to find that guy, or can they kind of keep doing it by committee?
I think they can probably keep doing it by committee as long as the committee always finds a person to step up. I mean, committees work if you have one guy that's going to emerge every single night. I mean, that's the benefit of that is if one guy's hot, teams are going to go for him. And when I look at Bedford, I look at a team that's going to compete for that Lake Erie League championship. And that conference early on looks really good with them in Warrensville. And we're going to talk about it later with Cleveland Heights and Lorraine playing on Tuesday night. That conference looks really, really good early on.
All right, and then another team in the area, maybe the team with the most impressive resume after the first week and a half, Garfield Heights. Obviously a big win against Gonzaga last week, and then to win at Mentor. Dave, this is a team, Mentor beat them both times last year. How big a win is this for Coach Sonny Johnson's program?
I think it's huge. I think it just further shows something I said last week, that I don't think Garfield Heights would win either of these games last year, and they've got a group, they're mentally tough, and they're a team that can really do some serious damage in their conference and in the postseason. And
Tim, what do you think maybe the biggest difference from last year is? As Dave said, he doesn't think they would have won these games last year. What do you think's changed?
I just think Dave was right. There's maybe a little more mental toughness. I think there's some depth in there, too, because when Willie Jackson struggles and you still win in overtime, that's a pretty strong statement. Frankie Hughes had a big night. Maury and Jackson stepped up for Garfield Heights. They have a lot of guys that can get the job done. That may not have been true last year, but this year, especially if one of those top 2 guys, and Frankie Hughes and Willie Jackson, struggles, that doesn't mean Garfield Heights is out of it by any stretch.
All right, guys, 2 weeks into the season. Tim, what player has been that had the best performances or maybe surprised you the most?
The guy that surprised me the most right now is Brandon Peters of Warrensville Heights. I mean, every night you look at the box score, he's put up tremendous numbers. He's already close to 100 points in just 4 games this year. He scored 20-plus in each game for Warrensville Heights. He's been absolutely impressive so far for the Tigers.
Dave?
I think you got to look at Issa Ahmad. It's sort of flying under the radar because they played out of the area and then they played Strongsville, which isn't the strongest of teams. But he's off to another tremendous start. Him and Carlton Bragg right now, to me, are the 2 best players, hands down, playing right now.
kind of how you expected to going into the season as well. So the stars are definitely showing early in the season. Also new to this, not really new to basketball, but there's been not rule changes, but some rule enforcements with the hand checking and the new violations on going in to get a rebound on free throws. You guys have been out to a couple games. Start with you, Tim. Have you seen a lot more fouls, or is it kind of like how college basketball was last year, where it started out really rough early, but by the end of the season?
Well, my game kind of falls into the anomaly. I was at Medina Beechwood last week, and I kind of was in the anomalies area where Medina did not commit a foul until about 2 minutes left in the third quarter, and I guarantee that won't happen that often this year. I mean, with the way teams play aggressive defense around here, and if the refs are emphasizing these hand check fouls, which I assume they're doing right now, that number of fouls is going to go up through a game, and I wouldn't expect to see anything like I saw in Medina Beechwood. There's no way that teams are going to continue to have no fouls through three quarters. That's just impressive in itself.
All right, David?
I'm sort of on the opposite spectrum. I was at East Tech Glenville, and I was at Warrensville-Heights in Bedford, and there were a lot of fouls in both games. Both teams went a double bonus very early. I think you saw Archbishop Holben, their first two games, they combined for over 100 free throw attempts. So, and that was a school record for them. So you're seeing it called early. It sort of depends on the league because every ref's different, but I think it's just something that's not going to go away for a while.
And I think you're right. You're going to see, just like in college basketball, by tournament time last year, the players had adjusted, and it was a much cleaner game. So it'll be exciting to see how that works out throughout the season. All right, guys, you have to go cover one game in any gym you pick. David, start with you. Where are you going and why?
It's a hard choice. I like all our schools, so I'm going to kind of take the easy way out and say that I enjoy going to every gym. Just give me a sellout, a good student section. I will say, though, that it's been fun going to Berea Mid-Park. They are undefeated. Since the two schools combined, they have a small gym, and it's always a good atmosphere.
Tough, though, for media to cover there. Not a lot of room.
No.
Tim?
I'm actually going to make a pick. I'm going to go with Medina's gym. You know, I love going there, the way it's set up, how you have it's like a double concourse. It's two sets of bleachers, one on upper level, one on a lower level. Mm-hmm. So you get the benefits of having, a big crowd. They can fill in a lot of bleachers on both sides. Plus, Medina's student sections, I must say, is one of my favorites. I mean, they get after it for theme nights. I saw once last year, 2 or 3 different guys were wearing banana costume at the same game. I'm a big fan of students wearing costumes. I mean, it's kind of a unique atmosphere. Most of the times you just walk in, you see the bleachers on the ground. It's kind of nice to see a little more open environment like Medina has.
All right, guys, final question before we speak with Coach John Norris of Walsh-Jesuit. You guys get a steal, 2-on-1 break. Start with you, Tim. What player in the area are you throwing the alley-oop to?
I'm going with Issa Ahmad. I just love, his athleticism. He's got the ability to make just incredible plays at the basket. He's got that athleticism, about 6'7", 6'8". He can get up there, and he's thrown out some great dunks.
Not a bad choice. I'm going to go with Carlton Bragg. Just a little better dunker, just a tad more athletic in the air, and I think it would be a nice show up there.
And I'm going to go real quick. I'm going to throw Willie Jackson there. I think he's a guy, he can go off 2 legs. I think he can go one-handed, catch it. I think Willie Jackson could do some pretty nice things. All right, and now we are joined by Walsh-Jesuit basketball coach John Norris. Coach, how are you doing?
Doing well, Dave. How you guys doing?
Not too bad. Coach, you guys were able to get a pretty big win against Archbishop Holben, really dominated that game. Just talk about what was maybe the most impressive thing for you guys.
I dominated, I don't know. We had a really nice stretch there in the second half that took a very close game, only 1-point game and a half. But I think the key to that game was third quarter. We were able to get some stops and really get out in transition, and that's where I think this team has a very good chance to excel this year is turning defense to offense. We just have multiple guys that can handle the basketball and distribute and really create some good scoring opportunities, either for themselves or for each other. And that's really what you saw in that game was some great unselfish play, and it kind of put us on a really good run to end the third, and we were able to kind of hold on to it there in the fourth quarter.
John, when you play a game like that, you're playing your rival, you get a really big victory. How much are you concerned for the next game of potential letdown?
I think as coach, you're always concerned for the next game. I think that's priority one. You want to build off the confidence, and that's what I was very pleased at was from game 1 to game 2, how much we improved on the defensive side of the ball. Now the challenge will be sustaining that. Can we sustain the level of play we had, specifically on the defensive side, and make it repetitive, make it a good habit of really hunkering down, so to speak, on the defensive side and get stops every possession.
Coach, speaking of your team before the season started, you talked to Mitch Pearson. He talked about how one of the things he wanted to improve this season, was his strength, getting a little stronger so he can battle in the post. He's had a good start to the season. How much do you feel like that has really helped and continue to accelerate his development to one of the better guys in your league?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that was huge. I think there were several plays we kind of pointed out on Friday where his strength and very similar. Our guys really bought in to get strong, get in the weight room in the spring and summer, and in the fall we were greatly benefited by the fact that we hired a full-time strength and conditioning coach. So we really worked hard in the weight room, and there were several plays where maybe contact last year, maybe he fell down, maybe he wasn't able to sustain. The same thing with some of our other guys. Maybe a little bump here, we weren't able to finish, or we weren't able to hold a check out. We were able to do those things on Friday night, and I give a lot of credit to our guys' commitment to get a lot stronger physically to be able to play through that, especially, and you're going to see it. We got a stretch here. We got three games coming up here: Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and a lot of it's going to be the fact of how good a condition we are to maintain a style of play throughout that tough stretch. And 22-game season for high school kids it can be a grind, especially when you look at the level of talent out there in this area.
And Coach, obviously you guys have a lot of players that can make plays. For someone who maybe hasn't been able to see your team this year, what are some things that you would tell them that they will definitely see every game?
Can you repeat that question?
Yeah, no problem. For people who haven't been able to go out and see your team play this year, what are some things they could expect to see if they came out and watched your team?
We use a term with our guys called smart aggression, where we won't be smart basketball players. That means understanding time and score and understanding mismatches, and again, who our opponent is, what their tendencies are, and where our strengths lie. I mean, we need to know who we are. What are my strengths? What is my role on the team? And then you got to be aggressive. You can't play the game in a situation of being scared or tentative. You need to play with a lot of confidence. So we constantly preach that to our guys about playing with smart aggression. And I think the more talent you have, obviously, the better. But you need to have smart basketball players too, in regards to what their capabilities are and what you're trying to do as a team, as a unit, not just as individuals. So what I hope to see from our team when you come out to watch us play is 5 guys on the court, and it's going to be a different combination of 5 guys depending on a wide variety of circumstances that just be ready. We're gonna be aggressive and ready to play, but it could come from many different avenues.
Coach, you're really involved in basketball. It's basically a big part of your life. When you're watching college or the pros, what are some coaches or teams that you enjoy watching?
Oh, that's a good question. I enjoy any team that is, that really plays the game hard. You can tell, some of the teams that really consistently play the game hard, that value, every possession and just make every possession, a max effort kind of deal. I love watching good basketball when it comes to that style of play where you see just all 5 guys working their butts off to play. It's just really fun to see talented teams play at a high level. From the college level, I really enjoy, locally, Kent State, Cleveland State, and Akron. I mean, talk about 3 teams that play hard and play with a little bit different styles, but boy, all 3 of those teams are fun to watch locally. At the national level, I've always been a fan of Wisconsin and Michigan State. Despite the fact I'm a Buckeye fan, I really enjoy Coach Ryan and Coach Izzo's style of play and just what they're able to have accomplished over their coaching careers on a consistent basis. They're fun teams to watch.
All right, Coach, thank you very much for joining us today, and best of luck in your 3 games this week.
We appreciate it. We really need it.
All right, Coach Norris, Walsh-Jesuit off to a very good start this season. They were one of the teams in the top 25 that made some movement, obviously with some of the top teams playing as well. Tim, what was kind of the biggest shakeups in the poll?
Well, the biggest shakeup looked looks to be in the top 10 when he had St. V jumping all the way up into the top 5 with that impressive win against St. Ed's. Truly, as I said, maybe December is a little bit early to say it's a statement win, but it's a confidence booster, no question. St. V definitely has a difficult schedule, and to beat St. Ed's is definitely a huge boost for that team.
Dave, he kind of talked about the teams that moved up. Who are some teams that moved down?
Well, you saw 5 teams fall out of the poll, which I don't know. I don't know the poll history there, but that's got to be one of the biggest drop-offs. A team that we just talked about, Archbishop Holman, they lost 2 games this week. Beechwood, a team that we sort of expected to be a little better, had a 28-point home loss to Medina. And then Lakewood, John Hay, and then Chagrin Falls were a little disappointing this week. So I think that was the most surprising thing for me.
All right, and before we wrap the show up, we'll give you a little preview of Tuesday night's games. David, start with you. What game are you going to, and what should we look for?
Well, if you might not have thought it would be a big one before the season started, but I'm going to be at Brush at Normandy. Both teams are undefeated right now. Brush is number 19 in our top 25. Normandy, they got Coach Tim Schmatzer, very good coach. He's in his 2nd year there. He's building a system, and they're playing well right now. It could be a very good game.
All right, Tim, what are some other games we should look out for?
Well, the one I'll be out on Tuesday night's a good old Lake Erie League battle. You got Lorraine and Cleveland Heights meeting at Old Southview High School. The gym there is going to be a good one. It's going to be a big game for Lorraine, no question, to find out how good they really are with that senior combo, Devon Andrews and Rashad Berry. And for Cleveland Heights, a young team, this is kind of a measuring stick to see what they are. Yahil Hill, the freshman, he's had a good start to his high school career. Like I said, it's going to be a good test for both teams. See who comes out on top. It's going to be a great game, no question.
As the case is pretty much every night in Northeast Ohio, should be some great basketball games this week. And I'd like to thank you for tuning into our show. Wednesday, we'll have the High School Boys Basketball Podcast. And for Tim Bielik and David Cassillo, I'm Mark Kern.